Good afternoon, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. I'm I'm Zach Myers with the Center for Dairy Excellence. Thank you for taking the time to join today's Protecting Your Profits webinar. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat box or at the end of the presentation. If you want to unmute yourself, you can verbally ask the question. My goal today, as every month, is to provide an overview of the current dairy market and to review risk management opportunities. And this is all public information, so if I may express some opinions, but these certainly aren't necessarily recommendations. With that, we'll just move on into things. At 19.715 billion pounds of milk, U.S. milk production was down about 1% year over year in May. This was the 7th month in a row that the U.S. experienced a year-over-year decline in production. U.S. cow numbers were down year-over-year for the 8th month in a row to 9.405 million head, but 2,000 head more than the revised number for April. Milk production per cow was basically flat at 2,096 pounds per month, up less than 0.5% from last year. Then this is equivalent to about 78 pounds of milk per cow per day, based on 87% of those 9.4 million cows being actively lactating. This slight increase was not enough to offset the reduction in cow numbers, which showed the main reason for lower production is of course the reduction in cow numbers. Pennsylvania cow numbers are also down, again about 8,000 from last year. Milk output per cow was up about 0.5 pound after being down 0.5 pound last month. Pennsylvania milk production is per cow was about 70.1 pounds per day, and this is equivalent to about 1,890 pounds per cow per month. Like the U.S., the slight increase in per cow production did not offset the slide in cow numbers. As a result, total May Pennsylvania milk production was down about 10 million pounds to 883 million pounds. And dairy cow slaughter, that report will be out. The livestock slaughter report will be out tomorrow, so that information is not available this month. Same goes for the May dairy product stocks. The cold storage report will be released tomorrow after 3 o'clock, so I won't know that information until then as well. On the product price side, at $2.88 per pound, May butter price is $1.07 higher than last year. For the first time in several months, the global dairy trade butter price was lower than the U.S. price at $2.74, but the EU price continues to be much higher at $3.39 a pound. Cheese price is up 78 cents compared to last year and continues to be a discount compared to the global dairy trade at $2.56 and the EU price at $2.62. At $1.77, non-fat dry milk is 46 cents more than last year, but month over month, but down month over month for the 4th month in a row. It continues to be slightly lower than the global dairy trade price and EU prices of $1.87 and $1.90 respectively. April butter production was down 37 million pounds compared to last April to 181.2 million pounds. April cheese production was basically flat, up less than 0.1%, or 9.2 million pounds to 1.16 billion pounds. And April powder production was up about 1%, or 2 million pounds compared to last year to 196 million pounds. On the demand side, April butter disappearance was up about 9% to 172 million pounds due to a large increase in domestic use that overwhelmed a 10% decrease in exports. At 460 million pounds, American cheese disappearance was down 0.5% because of a 95% decrease in domestic use. that overwhelmed, a 9% decrease in domestic use that overwhelmed a 61% increase in exports. At 707 million pounds, other style cheese disappearance was down about 0.6 of a percent. This was driven by a 11% decrease in exports that offset a 4% increase in domestic use. Milk powder disappearance was down 17% to 221 million pounds, driven by a 37% and 6% decreases in both domestic use and exports, respectively. Class 3 milk futures for the next 12 months were down 15 cents compared to this time last month to an average $22.79 a hundredweight based on the June 17th closing prices. Class 3 peaks this month at $24.30 a hundredweight, then falls to the upper 20s to low $21 range by next spring. However, the current Class 3 12-month average price is still $5.96 more than the 5-year average of over $17. Class 4 price peaks this month at $25.85 a hundredweight, then drops to the low to mid 21s by next spring. The Class 3 12-month average increased slightly since last month. The increase amounted to an average of 6 cents across the next 12 months to $23.70 a hundredweight. With this slight increase in the Class 4 futures, it is still averaging $7.84 a hundredweight more than the 5-year average of $15.86 a hundredweight. On April exports, April this month said it was actually an April monthly record at over 213,000 metric tons of milk solids equivalents. This is up 0.6% from last year, or about to 1,300 metric tons. Again, this does represent a record volume for the month of April. It snapped a 4-month in a row year-over-year decline and first positive year-over-year growth this year. Unfortunately, non-fat dry milk exports continue to decrease, but it was offset by increases in cheese and a large increase in butterfat, 25%, even though actual butter exports dropped 10%, which was the first decline in butter exports in 17 months. But again, total butterfat increased by 25%. April exports were valued at over $845.5 million. This is 22% more than last year, or $155 million more. This is the second highest value behind March of 2022 or the previous month at $859.6 million. Increased exports of higher value products continue to drive increased value in addition to a slight increase in volume. Now moving on to risk management. The April dairy margin coverage margin was announced as $12.29 a hundredweight, which of course doesn't trigger an indemnity at any level. The May margin will be available next Thursday, June 30th. So projections for the rest of the year, DMC is still not projecting any payments as of the DMC decision tool updated as of June 13th. However, it still would only take a net drop of around $2 or more, slightly more, for DMC to start triggering payments again. Feed costs are expected to average $14.26 per hundredweight this year, with a U.S. all milk price expected to average $25.89 a hundredweight. This would be an average margin of $11.63 for the year. The 950 margin coverage provides a U.S. all milk price floor of $23.95 based on the June 13th closings, meaning that if milk price dropped below this, it would start to trigger indemnities. Based on a 5-year average difference between Class 3 and the U.S. all milk price of $1.29, this would provide a reference Class 3 price floor of $22.66 when looking at the Class 3 futures market. And now the last topic we'll talk about is dairy revenue protection. The DRP prices shown here are based on June 17th closing with the milk production report released yesterday, and Monday was a federal holiday. Nothing was traded on the stock exchange, so policies were on the CME, so policies were not available until I actually closed the business yesterday. 100% Class 395% price protected floors can be set from a low of $19.29 in the third quarter of 2023 up to a high of $22.66 in the first quarter of 2023 for an average price of 49 cents a hundredweight. And quarter 3 2022 sales just ended on June 15th, so the fourth quarter 2023 are not yet available due to lack of trading that far out. And on the Class 4 side, Class 4 95% price protected policies can be purchased to set floor prices from a low of $19.81 in the third quarter of next year up to $23.01 in the fourth quarter of this year for an average price of 64 cents. Both Class 3 and 4 prices floors continue to trend down in general. The Class 3 and 4 premiums are still pricey. However, it's important to look at the net floor price that you're setting with the program compared to your break even or your cost of production to know if it's worth purchasing or not. And a few enrollment numbers here. 51 billion pounds of milk were covered since last month. This is 5.3 billion pounds more than last month, covered by 82 additional policies for a total of 2,676. The average U.S. policy covers 19.1 million pounds of milk. And within the Commonwealth here, dairy farmers have covered 100 million additional pounds of milk compared to last month, or 599 million pounds. The average policy in Pennsylvania covers about 4.6 million pounds. And with that, our next Protecting Your Profits webinar will be next month is going to be Beverly Hampton Pfeiffer. She is with the National Farm Program, Farmers Assuring Responsible Management. She is going to be with us, join us to talk about what's in Farm 4.0 and what you need to know. And recently the farm is revised every 3 years, and that process started this year and to go into effect in I think sometime in 2024. But she's also going to talk about that process and what and how dairy farmers can be involved in that process. And that will be July 27th, 2022 at 12 p.m. Of course, the webinar links will be the same as they normally are. And if there's any questions, I'll certainly be glad to try to answer them now. I'm not seeing any in the chat from the couple of people that are on today. And so with that, we'll go ahead and conclude this month's Protecting Your Profits webinar. Thank you again for taking the time to join me today. And I look forward to your participation next month as we have a guest speaker with Ms. Pfeiffer from Farm 4.0. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your week.